happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros. You're an amazing human, and this is a Wisdom Wednesday, where usually I take some time to just share some things that I've learned, some skills, some tools, some techniques that help me in my business, in my relationships, in my everyday life, because the truth is that they're all intertwined. And so when we are having issues in our relationships, it spills into our work and into the other areas of our lives and vice versa. So today I want to just talk to you really quickly about this idea of everything is temporary. I posted, I think it was last week sometime, just a thing that said everything is temporary, and it wasn't meant to scare people. It was just meant as a reminder that everything is in fact temporary. People, relationships, seasons, jobs, the day, life in and of itself, right? And I know when I say it like that, sometimes people are like, oh, it's so morbid. I'm not trying to be morbid, honestly. I like to look at it as a way to remind myself that because everything is temporary, I get to enjoy it and milk it when it's wonderful as much as possible because it's temporary. And if it's not so wonderful, it's okay because, and not that it's okay, but I just remind myself that it's temporary. Everything is temporary, right? In the midst of the winter, on the coldest days that it hurts my bones, it's temporary. Winter is going to end. And, well, not unless we do something about global warming, but that's another subject for another day. But it's temporary. So I just remind myself, like, I can get home and put on a bunch of layers and put on blankets and put the heat on, and being in the cold is temporary. And when it's a really, really hot day, you can go someplace where there's air conditioning and your environment is changing. It's temporary. When you are in a relationship, whether it's for 5 minutes, 5 months, or 5 years, or 5 decades, it's temporary. All of the things have a start and end date, including our own lives. So when we are in the midst of them, I feel that it's my responsibility to enjoy them as much as possible, to appreciate them as much as possible, to see in those temporary spaces, where can I learn, where can I grow, where can I expand? What can I do here to create a positive impact? And if I'm not meant to do work there or to impart help in any way, then how can I learn? How can I expand? How can I use this as a way to go deeper into myself, right? All things are temporary. Everything is going to end eventually. And I was watching this movie, and the guy knew the day he was going to die. And so he started kind of getting his affairs in order. He started appreciating his wife and his children more. And they would always complain that he was always working so hard all the time. But he knew, like, there's this end date. But the catch was he couldn't tell anybody. So he just had to kind of get his affairs in order. And that first day that he found out, he just spent the day kind of freaking out. And then he's like, okay, I have to do all these things that I want to do that are on my bucket list that I need to check off. And then eventually he just got to a point where he went, no, I have to appreciate the moments. I have to love on my wife. I have to tell my kids how much I love and appreciate them. And it would be fantastical if we all knew when the end date was, but we don't. So I like to think of everything as temporary, again, just as a reminder to myself, to us, to how can I spend more time in this moment being fully here? How can I spend more time appreciating? How can I return to joy? How can I return to happiness and to be centered and that, right? How can I challenge myself to grow and expand? How can I challenge others, either by my living example, which is truly our best and strongest teaching tool, or in the work that I do? How can I challenge others to also spend more time in the present moment, be more grateful, and reconnect with their own joy, right? Because everything is temporary. So when you have a relationship that ends, or when a job is no longer available, or whatever, it's necessary to go through the grief process. And then when we are done, it's also, I believe, necessary to look at it and say, what did I learn? How did I expand? How did I grow? How can I take what was good from that and allow it to make me better, right? And allow it to expand me and allow it to help propel me to my higher self. Because everything is temporary. All of your relationships, all of your stuff, all of your tangible things is temporary. So rather than put all of our attachment into the stuff and the viewing and the how can we use this temporary time to really do what we were meant to do, which is to explore and to expand and to evolve and to have fun while we're doing it? How can we include more adventure, more gratitude, more love into this and into every other relationship and area of our lives? Because everything is temporary. So that's all I have for you today. It's just a reminder of the impermanence of all things. Because really, when we keep that at the forefront of our minds, it changes how we move through the spaces of our lives. If you hate doing groceries and yet you have to do groceries and yet you keep at the forefront of our mind, this is temporary, right? What if there was a time where the supermarket was no longer available? You would be wishing that there was a supermarket so you can go do groceries, right? Allow the impermanence to become the motivation for appreciation and love in every area of our lives. Because when we do that, when we, again, take full responsibility, when we are looking for ways to insert love and gratitude into our relationships and into every pocket of what we do, super sparkly everything. That's super sparkly everything, right? It doesn't mean that the sad isn't coming or the bad isn't coming, or because stress is going to happen. Change is going to happen. That's life. Change is going to happen. That is life. Stress is going to happen. That is life. And it is temporary unless we choose to hold on to it. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and the start of next week. I appreciate you, and I love you, and I appreciate just doing these moments and all of your feedback. So let me know what you think. Give me some comments. Let's talk about it. I'll see you next week. Peace!